All right, so we are welcome back. So we have gotten to the final exposition of the first topic under the gospel according to Mark. So which is the authorship of Mark. So we are moving into the internal evidences. So internal evidence. So I have been able to talk about the external evidence in my previous lessons and videos. So now let's quickly see what are the things that we can find in the book itself. So what are the contents, what are the information we can find in the book itself, which also support Mark as being the author. So this is it. So by the time a careful analysis of the book itself has been carried out, so it is known that the evidence is gathered from this book, from inside the book itself, as that they have no different, they have little different, or they have no different from the traditional authorship of Mark, which is the external evidence. So which is the external evidence. So now, according to a careful analysis, so this internal evidence can be explained in three forms. So the first part is the Petrine characteristics. So what are the characteristics of Peter that can be found in the book itself, since the traditional view of the authorship supports the fact that Mark was an interpreter of Peter's. Therefore, there must be something that has to do with Peter in this book. So the second part is the Roman characteristics. Now, this one is basically on the fact that if the book was written in Rome, definitely there must be Roman culture and something that that will point to the Romans too. That is something that the book itself will be presented in such a way that they will understand. Since the audience, the immediate audience, the direct audience were the Romans. And the last one is the strange story found in the book itself. That was the strange story of Mark 14:51. So it is only recorded in Mark 14:51. Let's quickly analyze the Petrine characteristics. Like I said before, Petrine characteristics have to do with the characters of Peter. So characters of Peter found in the book. So what are the attributes of Peter that can be found in the book itself, since it was reproducing, since Mark reproduced Peter's preaching? Therefore, there must be these attributes of Peter, these characters of Peter in the book. So the first one is the character and the characteristic. This is what is called eyewitness vividness. Eyewitness vividness. Now, this can be explained on the fact that Mark was not a direct disciple of Jesus Christ in blood and flesh. So, and by the time a careful analysis has been carried out on the book of Mark, actually, so something that is being discovered from this book is that the book was written as if the writer was present at the event. That is, as if he witnessed the event. So, and which is contrary to Mark being a disciple of Jesus Christ. How come? So the answer to that is that it was possible because Mark was an interpreter of Peter, and he was getting his information from a direct eyewitness, raw information from a direct eyewitness. So that is, Peter is connected to this information. Now, this is also explaining the fact that, so if you look at some of the accounts recorded by Mark and you compare to that of to the corresponding events in Matthew or Luke, so Mark is usually longer than that of Matthew and Luke. Mark's account is usually longer. So why? This is because of some vivid description that Mark added to his own account. Vivid description, as he was, let's say that he was explaining, was writing this to actually give us a kind of mental picture of how the event occurred. So he described this event as if he was there. He described this event in the sense that people who are reading this event will kind of imagine, and is going to, the person reader will actually have a kind of mental picture of what might be happening there. So we have some instances. We have some instances from the book. So the first instance, the only instance that we use is that of Mark 2 1 to 12. Mark 2 1 to 12 and Luke. This account is recorded in Mark 2 1 to 12. And what's the account? That is the healing of the paralytic, recorded in Mark 2 1 to 12 and Luke 5 17 to 26. So if you look at this healing of paralytic, so compare the two accounts, two narrations. So that of Mark is more vivid. That of Mark is more vivid because he added some touches. For instance, by the time he was describing the event, so he stated something that there was no longer room for them, not even about the door, as found in Matthew, in that Mark 2:2. Mark 2:2. That is, look at that. There was no room. There was no longer room for them, if not even about the door. So he was talking as if he was even there seeing the event. That by the time a lot of people came to Jesus Christ, they everywhere was filled up. Even if not even the door, can someone find a space there? So he wrote this down as if he was at that event. So which is not found in Luke chapter 5 17 to 26. Chapter 5 17 to 26. So he also added another information to the paralytic information. So that information is that he said he only stated the number of men that carried the paralyzed man. He stated that 4 men carried the paralyzed man. You can still find this in that verse 2 to like verse 3 of it, of that same verse. So that is 4 men. So he gave us information. He gave us, let's say, accurate information, a vivid information of how events happened, creating a kind of mental picture in the head of people. So which cannot be found in Luke and other gospel, as has been recorded in the gospel according to Mark. So that's the first one, the characteristics of eyewitness and vividness, which is related to Peter. It was not Mark. He got that from Peter. He was able to explain vividly because he was getting that information from Peter, who was an eyewitness. Another thing is that now there is this character of Peter. Peter was an impulsive and a kind of active man. He was an active man. So a man that always wants his things to be to be fast and action. Basically an action man. So man was always active, very active. So he no slackness and something like that. So now this characteristic of Peter too is also found in Mark's material. So that is why the book itself is regarded as the book of action. The book of action. So, and if you look at the book of Mark, so he recorded more activities about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ as a hardworking person, hardworking from one place to another. But if you compare Luke and Matthew devoted their time on discussing the preaching of Jesus Christ instead of his miracles. So, meanwhile, Mark recorded most miracles of Jesus Christ and paid little attention to the parables of Jesus Christ. So this is possible, or this is what we should be expecting if Mark was reproducing if Mark was reproducing Peter's sermon, because that was the character of Peter himself. He was an impulsive and an active man. And the last one on the Petrine characteristics is the use of Aramaic expression, the exact Aramaic expressions used by Jesus Christ, as that Aramaic expression. So, and for instance, we can find that in Mark 5:41, also Mark 7:11, also Mark 7:34, also Mark 14:36. So, and these Aramaic words cannot be found in Matthew and Luke. So this is attributed to how he heard Peter saying those words. He could remember how Peter said those words that Jesus Christ said, those expressions that Jesus Christ said. So therefore, he recorded that as well, which cannot be found in Luke and the exact Aramaic word used by Jesus Christ. So I'll be moving on to the Roman characteristics in the next video. Thank you.